today's conversation is more so about just what you got out of life. What can you get out of life? What situation you're in right now that you can look back in your future and say, you know what? I'm glad I went through that. Good, bad, happy, or sad. I'm glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I was in this situation because it made me do this. I'm so glad I was in this situation because it made me do that. Well, the bad part about it is it may not be good for you now. I understand that. It definitely wasn't good for me seeing my mom get beat on, seeing my mom in a hospital bed with a back brace for weeks. Can you imagine how I'm 10 years old. I had to drive. At 10 and a half, I had to drive. Had to drive my mom places. 10. Like now, my daughter's 12. I wouldn't trust her with a bike more than 50 feet from my house. And I had to drive. And yes, like I talk to my wife now, and my wife's from a small town in Georgia called Warner Robins, and she looks at me like a deer in headlights sometimes, like, you did what? And then she had to sit down, I'm like, tell me you didn't make him drive. She's like, somebody had to drive, it had to be him. Well, now, like I said, I'm a good driver. I haven't had too many accidents, none at fault, fortunately. And all that stemmed from that bad situation that I started in. And when I worked in music, y'all, at 17, 18, 19, I was exposed to things in life that I think no adult should be exposed to. I mean, just serious aims of violence, craziness, drug activity. I mean, you name it, I've saw it all. I've seen it all. There's nothing my whole shock factor in life is gone. Like, there's nothing that shocks me, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, nothing. And that's something that I really wish I had in my life. But the good part about that is, it made me the individual who now, as a self-defense instructor, I can teach my students, this is what you look for, this is what you see. This is a situation that you can see and be preventative of way before it becomes one. And things like that. And this is what, I hope you guys get out of here. This relationship building thing is wonderful. Like, for instance, these two guys sit next to each other. I don't know if they're familiar with each other that well, but he may grow to be someone, and later on in life, you may need a job for him. And you'll say, yeah, I went to Grady High School. He'd be like, Grady? When'd you go to Grady? I went to Grady. And believe it or not, that might get you that job. That one thing. Those two right there in the back, you may never have, even you look at him like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is. One day you're in a bad accident. He's a guy who went to paramedic school. He saves your life. You get up, you want to thank him. I went to Grady. You went to Grady. We should have knew each other at Grady. That's why it's very important to build relationships now. Every opportunity that you don't take to say hello to someone, to find someone's name or anything of that sort, you have a missed opportunity. Like, for instance, today is a wonderful day. I'm so glad. I drove up from Warner Robins, Georgia, dropped off the baby this morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. after 11:30 p.m. interview on the radio. I drove up here to come with you guys, and I'm so excited about it. How did I do this? Because Liz, who didn't want to come to my class, decided to come to my class, enjoyed the class, and now I'm here with you guys. It's a great thing. Relationship building. Always, always, always look for that opportunity. But right now, you guys should connect with each other, just the ones who are not even going to a college near you. Why? Like I said before, that could be a future boss. That could be a future coworker. That could be a future business partner. Anyone want to go into business for themselves? Okay, what type of business? Parties? Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. One thing I can tell you, when I first started this business, it was something to do. Like, okay, I'm just going to start teaching women like maybe once every few months. That was 2.5 years ago almost. Now it's a full-fledged business. This is all I do. This is all. If you asked me in 2009, Cole, what are you going to be doing? If I gave you 1 million things, 1,000,005 still wouldn't have been teaching women self-defense, okay? But I got invited out to the Grammys 2 years ago. Me and my brother did what they call a Grammy gifting suite. A gifting suite is like where the celebrities and stuff go to get these like goodie bags full of all kind of stuff for free before they go to the Grammys. So we had a table out there, and I had like pink boxing gloves. Like, my wife laughs at me because our presentation was terrible. But at the time, I didn't think it was going to be a real business. The marketing major in me said, we might be onto something. I came back. My brother started in L.A. I started here in Atlanta, and it's just been taken off. And like now we have a program where people like yourselves, who are a little bit older, of course, you can actually have your own business teaching women self-defense. We take 3 days and we train you, and you run it like your own business. So, the passion started from my mom's situation. It went over to the fact that I knew my wife and my daughters were going to learn how to protect themselves. So I feel I love enough people, and I'm one of those people who, like, you're on the side of the highway, I'll pull over, make sure you're all right, you know. So by being that type of person, I make sure that I just try to spread the gospel as much as I can and teach as many as I can. What do I say to people with unconventional goals? Like people want to be doctors, lawyers, or even rappers, okay? Because that is unconventional to a certain extent, as far as being successful. What I tell you is this. On the other end of that road is a tunnel. It's a goal. There's going to be a lot of detour signs. If you could fight the detour signs to get to that goal and do everything that you feel you need to do and be open to learning more as you go that path, I see no reason why you cannot. Now, on the other hand, there's a strong chance that your goal may change. Like, for instance, you may now say, you know what, I want to be a retinal surgeon, work on people's eyes. You realize later on down the line that you really love kids. You want to be a pediatrician. Well, that doesn't mean that you're not successful and you didn't reach your goal. You still reach your goal. Your goal was just altered. You know, someone who wants to be a rapper, you may realize that eventually you have you're a better sound engineer. Well, it's about you recognizing that, learning what you have to, and obtaining that goal. That goal is there. It's just about you to obtain it. A little while ago, I mentioned to you that we have this thing called a Train the Trainer program, where, like, I could train you, and I could say, okay, well, this is a 3-day training. Now you, wherever you go back, you go back to Lithonia. And you say, okay, well, I'm going to be a self-defense trainer in Lithonia. Well, the benefit for me is that becomes an additional location. The benefit for you is all the money you get to keep, besides a small fee, of course, is all your money. So that is definitely the benefit of it. So that's how we did it. It's almost like franchising, like how McDonald's doesn't own all the McDonald's, but individuals do. But one thing that anybody know the owner of McDonald's who started it? Name? Okay. Believe it or not, his name is not McDonald. His name is Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc. And I'm going to tell you something funny about McDonald's, okay? I read this in a book. It's called, what's the book called? It's Robert Kiyosaki's book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, thank you. Okay. So he asked the people, what business is he in? So if I was Ray Kroc, I'm the owner of McDonald's, and I asked you guys as a unit, what business am I in? What would you say? No, if I was Ray Kroc, McDonald's do. McDonald's, fast food. Give me, like, what do I do? Management. Okay, what product do I have? Like, what type of business am I in? Like, Ford is in the car business. Fast food, hospitality, okay. He said real estate. Right, that's what everyone said. Believe it or not, McDonald's owns, the company McDonald's owns every piece of land that you see a McDonald's on. Now, with that being said, McDonald's actually owns more land than the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church owns every land that the Catholic Church is on. Now, so now if I was Ray Kroc again, I would tell you I'm in a real estate business because I own more land than any single owner out there at all. That gives you an idea of opportunities that are out there by connections. I'm willing to bet when he was flipping burgers, he didn't think that he would be flipping property, okay? So with that being said, he probably made a connection with someone and said, it'd be a good idea if you could just own the land that these McDonald's on. He said, you know what? I think that's a good idea. Let's make it happen. Now McDonald's owns more real estate than anybody that we know.